Hello, Trekkers and Trekkers. Welcome back to this amazing Star Trek podcast on Trek Tuesday. I'm your host, Dorinda, and I recap every 2 weeks an episode of Star Trek TNG. Today we recap the episode Brothers, and I will be joined by Marc. I'm always looking for Trek friends who would like to recap with me the episodes. So if you are interested, let me know on one of my social medias of the podcast, or of course you can email me at trekkie1982sto@hotmail.com. From time to time I will make a bonus episode, and then I will talk with Trek friends in general about Trek from all over the world. So if you have any Trek subjects you'd like to talk about, let me know and I will see when I can make this happen. You can send me an email with your name, subject, and where to reach you. And if you'd like to be my guest, of course, to trekkie1982sto@hotmail.com. I will contact you as soon as possible. You can also use this email address if you have any questions, suggestions, ideas, or something else you'd like to discuss. I would appreciate it if you like this video, comment on the episode, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends and family. And now for the plot of the episode. A misguided prank between two young brothers exposes the younger of them to a toxic parasite that cannot be treated aboard the USS Enterprise. But Dr. Crusher is able to stabilize his condition in a controlled environment in sickbay while the ship sets out for a starbase that can cure the boy. As Commander Data escorts the older brother to visit his sibling, he suddenly stops and returns to the bridge, where unseen by the crew, he sets the new course for the ship and triggers a life support alarm, causing to the evacuation of the bridge to be ordered. Captain Picard orders Data to transfer the controls to the engineering while the rest of the bridge crew evacuates. But Data instead mimics Picard's voice and locks down control of the ship with a complex access code, preventing any interference with his action. The crew discovered Data's lockdown and manually disabled the transporter side-to-side function to prevent Data from easily moving about the ship. Once the Enterprise is in orbit about the planet Charlina 3, Data creates a programmed sequence of force fields to allow him to move from the bridge to the nearest transporter room without being stopped by security, and then beams down to the planet, leaving the Enterprise still under his lockdown. Picard orders his crew to attempt to override Data's lockdown of the ship, while Dr. Crusher attempts to keep the infected boy stabilized. Data finds himself in the home of his creator, Dr. Noonien Soon. Soon states that he called Data to him using a form of automatic recall and makes a manual adjustment on Data to return him to normal. As they talk, they are joined by Lore, eventually also drawn by the same recall that Data received. Since Soon assumed that Lore was still disabled, Lore expresses resentment towards his creator and starts to leave, but stops when Soon tells both of his creations that he is dying and wishes to give Data an emotion chip he has created. Soon decided to rest before implanting the chip, leaving Data and Lore to talk. When he returns, he proceeded to implant the chip, but discovers too late that Lore had managed to deactivate Data and switch clothes with him, so that he now possesses the emotion chip. Soon tries to warn Lore the chip is not designed for him, but Lore instead injures Soon and transport of the planet. The crew of the Enterprise find a way to beam down and await him to the planet, where they discover the dying soon and they deactivate Data. After Data is reactivated, he cannot recall any of what he did on the Enterprise to arrive on the planet, until Soon reveals to him where he can find that information stored in his memory chip files. Data apologizes to Soon that he will not be able to grieve for his love, but Soon tells him he will grieve in his own way. After Soon states that he wishes to die on the planet. After Soon states that he wishes to die on the planet, the Enterprise leaves and returns to its course to the medical facility, where the sick boy is successfully treated. Data observes the brothers at play at forgiving each other for the accident, contemplating his own relationship with Lore. So, welcome back everyone, and welcome back Marc.
Thank you.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Sometimes we all have the real life to fall out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But well, every ship have problems, and sometimes stay stranded in the region of space, and well, we are back.
Yeah, we do. And with a whole new content. Yeah, today's episode is of course Brothers. Let's start with of course a data episode.
Yeah. We don't have. I need to start commenting this. It's not just a data episode. It's a Brent Spiner episode.
Yeah.
He can be Data. He can be Lore. He can be Dr. Soon. He can be everyone.
I think one of after next to Jeffrey Combs, I think he is one of the characters and actors that are having a lot of characters in Star Trek.
Yes,
Cause
that's true.
He's keep coming back as Data.
Jeffrey Combs is the recording owner.
I believe so.
He
Yeah.
made many characters in many stories, in many series, in many movies too. So we leave him with the Oscar of the Checker characters.
Yeah, indeed. So what do you think about this? This whole episode.
Okay, we have every family have a problem, and Data's family cannot be different.
Mm-hmm.
We always have some black sheep in the family, and this black sheep used to give much more of problems. But we know how this story ends. You know? We know how this ends because we can see Data. We can see Data became a full human person. First, when he died, and second, when Picard recovered his body from the museum, right?
Mm-hmm.
And inside that body, that was an experiment made by the last descendant of the Soon family. And this Soon family was able to put Data, Lore, and even before inside the programming, and you can see the very Soon is there too. But we can't see that when the barriers are taken. We can see someone assuming that their places because he was wise enough to to provide what Lore needed, what Sun needed, and what even before needed. But for before, the only thing he said was the, and we see how Data became owner of that person, of all persons, in that moment. It was impressive way Terry Matalas wrote the coming back of Data. So he became human completely in that time. That was very happy moment. About the episode, we see Lore, Data, and Sun making many misunderstanding moves, right? Sun called it Data, and Lore came too, because it was the same tools, the same software, and Lore managed to kill Dr. Sun and to steal the emotion chip. Well, that's Lore. That's natural from Lore. And at the end, this was in the 4th season. In the 6th season, Lore is back with the same emotional chip and found his end because Data killed him. And that ended the story of this family. Sad story for the family. Even so, the Data was the one who prevailed. See? And only in the movie Generations, Data started to experiment with the emotional chip.
Yeah. Now I remember that was already an episode that we watched. That it was with Q, and Q gave him the emotion of laughter at that moment.
Yes.
I remember I was thinking when they put the emotion chip in Data, at that point I was thinking that could be very dangerous to experiment with it right now, because it could give you, and we saw that of course was it in the film? I thought it was in the film, yeah, that when Data was kidnapped by the Borg, that the emotion chip was doing more damage than being good for Data.
No, at that movie, he had already full control of the ship. He could activate it and deactivate it if the ship was inconvenient. But at the some time of the kidnapping, how can I say, the Borg Queen accessed it and used only what she needed, what she wanted to describe to Data. She wanted him to be sexual, and she got it because he was completely functional at the time, and with ship, with no ship, no problem. He was completely functional, and he functioned too at that time. The other Borgs were not looking, but she was not caring. Both make love time there that way, but the camera doesn't show it. No problem.
Now, what I always was asking myself is, at the point that Lore was the leader of the Borg, how would that be all in contact? Because the Borg is very different than an android. So I'm really, I don't want to sound confused, but I'm more like, in what function or what point does it take that? Because lore and data always remind me a bit of Thor and Loki. But then in the Star Trek universe, like good vs evil.
Mm-hmm.
And my question I always questioned in what would it be, how could lore be connected with the Borg in that way?
The Borg doesn't connect. The Borg assimilates. Okay, they tried to assimilate that data, but they tried to invade. In order to that, they needed to complete assume control of the blocking systems, the security systems he wants to have. He mentioned it in the movie that if the Borg trying to invade his brain, they will be a very very hard time. He has encrypted. How can I speak that? Encrypted fractal formulas to make his blocking. So they didn't get inside his brain, but that's why she needed to talk him about this, and he talked him using sex, using everything he wanted to be as a human being. That was the key, to try to attract that man to cyberganic lifestyle. He already cybernetic, but she needed to show how good it is to be organic to attract him. You see, so this was how they tried to be to assimilate data, and data was going along.
Do you think that data, because I always find it was a bit, well, I don't want to say weird, but when Dr. Soon called him in the way of, okay, come home.
Yes.
And Laura as well. Do you think Dr. Soon could imagine that Laura would be that bad, and well, Data, of course, Data is the first android he made, but that Data also, because that's what I and Amanda always said, it's, although Data is an android, he still he still does human things. He tried, and well, Laura is in that way more advanced.
Well, first, Dr. Soon knew Laura was bad. That's why he dismantled him before they found it in back home when the Enterprise found it. And he knew already that he was ambitious. He was very, very bad character. But both was made for the same parts, the same thing, right? But Data kept the character. That was very important to Data, and it's important till today. You see, you can see that character evolving in every step, and even when Picard knew him, that character was the key for him to win Lore inside his brain. You see,
Mm-hmm.
if that was not the character of that android, maybe the Borg Queen was one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hold on.
I think it was a normal problem, family problem, but unfortunately, Dr. Sun didn't leave it to see what else Data would do.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we were suffering about the death of Data in generations, but we were happy to see him back in Picard. That's all I can say about this.
It is maybe and that's what I was thinking too.
Mm.
The last episode was about family. Was the family episode? What was about the family around Wesley Crusher, Picard, and Worf, of course. It looks like that this is an extension of that.
Well, we see families flourishing everywhere. This time, we have Father's Day this last summer in Brazil, and some of the more humorous people started to say, "Happy Bad Father's Day to Worf." He is not completely the best father, the best husband, and he didn't want it to be a family man.
Mm.
But the very bad problem Worf did was his son. His son has a very not happy life.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I personally don't like the Klingons, the way they do things, and Worf was the best example of that.
Mm.
The first Klingon that portrayed his son, this actor, he killed himself not long ago. So I see that if we incorporate the Klingon character in our lives, we will not do good, right? I'm quite sure. I don't like Klingons. I prefer to keep some distances and only know that they are happy in their way, in their place. Okay.
And we see that also with Worf himself, because he also struggled to be raised by humans.
Yes.
And
well, it was not. He did not struggle. He lived among humans, and the humans lived with him. That was different. Not only Worf needed to understand his fathers, but each new trinket of the son, of that strange son, was a lesson to their fathers. And they say that they imply that to have Russian fathers was the closest thing a Klingon can have to be human. It's not true. I'm telling it. I live in Russia. We don't have so serious families here. I think they are serious, but in a human way. Okay, they try to be a moment of honesty and what can I say? I think Russians try to be honest. Honesty is the best quality of someone can show to a Russian. And here we are. So we see all the problems we have here in this world, the family is the most precious in her ship.
Mm.
You know, the relationship with the Russian, with their grandfathers, are impressively close, impressively clear. You know, I know that because I am a grandfather to 3 little Russians, and I'm very happy to be with them, and they and very happy to participate of their younger age.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, it's a very impressive link, familiar link we have in here. I don't believe that they are essentially Russian.
Mm.
Russian, not Russian, essentially Klingon.
Yeah.
In their existence.
So we also have this other storyline in the episode with 2 little boys. One boy is very sick, and his brother is just big bully, etc.
Yes.
Dr. Crusher, as always, is a big part of it. That she tries and tries and tries. That is how we know Dr. Crusher, of course. What do you think of the relationship between the 2 boys?
Well, the 2 boys always are 2 boys. There is only every time the older one, and the older one loves to make some pranks to the newer one, but he didn't know that the last prank could take the life of the younger one. Mm-hmm. And he made a very bad mistake. And with the Dr. Crusher have a very tactile sense to deal with that. But she needed to see only one side of the problem, right? He was his patient,
mm-hmm.
but she didn't need to deal with the other one.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was with Data. And Data was about to learn about lessons about his own brother, who was trying who was about to do much worse,
mm-hmm.
and killed his father. You know, that those are family problems. Even the perfect families have problems like this. Okay, someone want to make some fun with a younger brother or an older brother. We don't know. Bullying happens in everywhere,
mm-hmm.
every family. No matter if you are younger or older, you always have lessons to teach and to learn about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't remember all the question I like to ask or what to talk about, because I haven't seen the episode completely, but that's okay.
No problem.
Yeah, what do you think? And maybe getting lost a bit of the episode, but okay. What do you think of the Worf and Data in TNG, in between also as in Star Trek Picard? Because for my opinion, of course they both grow, but I mean also like we have a very different Worf in TNG than in Picard.
Yes.
What is your opinion about that?
Well, we can see 2 people in 2 very different moments in their lives. Well, in the second season, first season, we could not see Data, but like a ghost, right? And his daughters was very impressive as we found them.
Mm-hmm.
And Worf is not it's not seen anytime. But when we see Worf, he was that. How can I say? He was that mysterious guy that was slowly showing his own part. Surprisingly, he came back as a very meditative people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He was meditating. He was improving his own character, and in the process, he was trying to cut less heads, and send to people, and we see
he got humor.
Yes, like some humor, but I will not see the bad side of those jokes.
What I did like about him in Picard season 3 is that he became some kind of a mentor of Raffi.
Yes.
And
that's for sure.
I would never have expected that he would become a mentor like that.
Well, if you are someone like Raffi, and well, she didn't imagine who was her mentor there, and who was her boss, but people will say that was the right guy for the mission.
Mm-hmm. But didn't they make a mistake? Because in TNG, I believe there was an episode that was that in TNG? I believe it was in TNG that they that Worf became an ambassador, and he was killed in a Romulan attack. I believe, yeah.
I believe that was in the episode called Parallels. That was a reference about that.
Oh, wasn't that the big Alexander traveled through time to little Alexander, that he has to be more warrior?
No, that doesn't happen. We didn't see Alexander being grown. We only see him we only see his bad luck as a Klingon, as someone in Deep Space Nine. Well, I think that he was victim of the Klingon malleable honor.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes Gowron said it's okay, and sometimes it was no. It's okay. You are all banned from the Empire, etc., etc., etc. You are cursed. You are blessed. You are cursed. You are blessed. What all depending of his own personal humor. Okay. I don't believe that Gowron should be a good leader.
No.
And I'm happy to know that Gowron died on the hands of Worf.
Yeah.
So it happened.
Mm-hmm.
See, we know the story. We know how it ended, and Chancellor Marc took good control of the Empire after that. We know he was a good guy, despite to be a Klingon. but the story go on.
I think that is the influence that Marc was. Was he an ambassador in Deep Space Nine? I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's why I think Marc is a bit more relaxed than all the Klingons.
Yeah. He spent a lot of problems there in Deep Space Nine, and he was a prisoner of the Dominion. He learned many lessons in there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Out of questions. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I need to say I also watched the episodes Remember Me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That put Dr. Crusher in a very stranded situation with herself. and easily and slowly she was losing everyone in the episode.
Yeah.
And we don't know that until we know what that has to do with the Wesley Crusher experiment, right?
Yeah.
And she didn't understand what was happening until she started to talk with the computer. At that time, she was completely alone in the ship, and even so, she needed to be creative.
Yeah.
And that she found the answer.
I think Dr. Crusher is very resourceful.
Oh yes.
And that's why I had to laugh when in Picard season 3 she went behind the tactics and she blowed everything up or whatever, and everyone Troy,
Yes.
they were looking at her of, well, what the hell was that? And she said, well, in 20 years face can change a lot. So
if you was a very creative person and need to raise a son, Picard's son, well, she was very, what I can say, she was very capable for the job. She became creative. She became a very lovely person, and not to mention she became a medical admiral.
Yeah. I really liked that scene when they were in the shuttle and they brought Jack back to the new Enterprise G.
Yes.
And I really liked that scene with, oh yeah, in honor of your crew and the Enterprise G.
And, 7 of 9 commanding the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And Raffi at her side. And what else?
I know. It was surprising that 7 of 9 gave Jack the counselor advisor position.
Yes, he was nice. He was a Jack to every tool. So you see, he's very useful and quite creative, like his mother.
Yeah.
So I believe the Enterprise G was in good hands. And as we say, we never ended how that story ended, because we saw Q appearing from another timeline to Jack and explaining the Picard problem ended. Yours only starting.
Yeah.
It was a reference to the Star Trek Legacy.
Yeah.
It's uncertain if we will see that or not, but we are optimistic.
We hope so. It is like it's being weird to have an open end in one of the series.
Oh yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah. Well, Marc.
Yeah, we have something to wait for. Did you watch Prodigy?
Yes. Loved it.
Ooh.
Loved it.
I was worried if you could not watch that.
I could watch that because it is on Netflix, so I could watch it. Was it on Netflix?
Nice.
Yeah. And
Nice,
I
nice.
really hope that they make a third season. But
I don't know. That's only a matter of time. I don't like to theorize about what producers want or they want or who was laying with who. I don't know. It's their life, not mine.
I know, but I love Prodigy. I really love it. Still love it. It's so good. It's really good.
Yes.
And especially for an animation one, we have Star Trek the animation, but this is just so. so refreshing also for kids to become acquaintance with Star Trek.
Yes,
And
it
although
was very nice to see.
yeah, exactly. So
So you see how the series ended, how the directions of everyone. You see, that was a very ending of a story,
yeah, and I'm very
and mm, and started with the problem of the attack of Mars.
hmm yeah,
The end of Prodigy was the start of Picard.
yeah. And that's what you see also in the dynamic of Wesley Crusher and Beverly Crusher.
Hmm.
So I was always, when Picard ended, I always asked myself, would Wesley know that he had a baby brother?
Mm.
And they answered that to us in Prodigy, thank God.
Yes,
Cause
yes.
in one way I always had hope that they put a reunion between Beverly Crusher, Wesley Crusher, and of course Jack now and Picard.
Hmm.
But we never got that.
The Crusher family is growing.
Yes, yes.
And can you know how will be the son of Jack Crusher and uh, can you imagine if George LaForge have a grandson from from Jack? We never know.
We never know. We never know. Yeah, and that is just also, um, yeah. That's why I think I. Ow, 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 Mori. No, ow. Um, I think that is the nice thing of Prodigy. Prodigy. Although it was also, I had that feeling of it's made for the fans in a way,
Hmm.
because they had so many Easter eggs in it.
Hmm.
But it is completely new as well, and that's what I love Prodigy as well for it.
Okay, we are waiting for Lower Decks, the last season. It seems to be if we follow the style of Lower Decks, we will have many of Easter eggs there, and we will love that as always, and we will love them like all the works of Star Trek. We love to be and love to see and love to do and love to make. I'm sorry I'm not home, but well, I know I have something I can show you, but it's very deep in the boxes. I have a, how can I say, I have a Moopsie.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a Moopsie. It was fun. It's only a little toy, but I just can't imagine that thing eating me. I don't want me to be eating.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but we finished the Enterprise D for thank God after so many years.
Yes.
But yeah, that was fun to do too. So it's over there. Don't know if you can see it. No, it's on the other side. It's on the other side.
No problem.
No, it's fine. But yeah, Star Trek always yeah, it's a big part of our life. Let me say it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, well, Mark, thank you very much for joining me today again.
Okay.
It's been a while, but as always, it was nice to talk about Star Trek again.
No problem.
And we will talk soon.
All right.
So after I did this recording with Mark, I rewatched the episode, and well, these are my findings.
Work life and personal life.
So the first scene is that the young boy had to come to the wedding room, And once again, it is Riker who deals with kids. And he had to have a stern, harsh word with the boy because, of course, his younger brother, is dangerous, sick now. And, well, they say it's 9 of the 10 times that the big brother is teasing the younger brother. But my experience is that it is the other way around. My younger brother always tease me and get me into trouble, etc. So, in one way, I could relate to that to an extent. What I do notice in the scene is that the boy is very well behaved and well spoken. And one way that's a bit weird because their parents are away, so they are alone on the Enterprise. And of course, people are keeping an eye on them. But what I think is that those boys, it was just harmful, and of course there were even what they describe as pranking. It's more like, and it become dangerous. It's still something from nowadays, you know. Now we see Riker again in a parent mode. I'm wondering if he would be like this to his own children. And of course we see a little bit in Star Trek Picard who he is. And in one way he's still the same Riker we know. But I'm wondering how of a father he would be, and how would he react when Diana would tell him, well, I'm pregnant for the first time. I don't know if it can be many ways, I think, but yeah, it's Riker, you know. This is very good acting of Data. I mean, Brent Spiner, of course, is playing three characters in this episode. And it is very interesting to see how he keep every character separated and how they react and how they are, etc. So we fans already know when Data get this first home call of soon, it is not Data himself. You could see by how he acts and reacts that it is not the Data we know. When Data is not complying of answering, the Enterprise crew knows now that they are in trouble. And even Picard wants to separate the saucer at the warp of 9.3. And so that is very dangerous. So, yeah, big trouble. So this is the first time also that we hear Worf talking technobabbles. And in this scene we see that he knows the ships in and out. And he and Riker are climbing into the Jeffrey tubes, and Worf knows exactly where they are and what to do, and he tells that Riker, this is something we don't see often, Worf doing this, because yeah, it's still, like I said before in another episode, it's still weird that Worf used to do ops, because we know him as a strong Klingon, but also like the tactical officer, of course. And it's still weird that he knows the technical side of the whole Enterprise. What I do not understand, and I think that this was one of the other episodes. There was another episode that he's gonna go back to soon, or to the planet, or get lore. It was that time that he connected or separated the saucer from the battle bridge, and he will go along with the saucer. I think that was one of the first episodes we have from TNG. I can remember that. And you know, the only other thing was is that it would occur that Data would think about that, because he doesn't want to harm the kids on the Enterprise, and I believe the family quarters are on the Sorcerer. So it's in one way a bit weird that everyone is evacuated to the battle bridge. Dr. Crusher is treating the younger brother, and she has this conversation with him. And it is a typical younger patient conversation, but also a bit motherly. And when I talked with Eve in the first bonus episode about the woman of TNG, we also talked about Dr. Crusher, how plain of a mother she is, and how, well, not really a mother to Wesley, because she had those things that you could say a mother will not do that. It's more like her being a doctor. And so we can imagine that Wesley could be very lonely. And not only lonely because he doesn't get that attention from his mom, but also because he is this genius whiz kid. And so hearing Beverly Crusher talking to the little boy like that is some kind of a bit weird. Data is beaming down to the planet with a lot of hustle, because security has to prevent that, but they didn't concede. And when he meets Dr. Nunyan soon, you could see that Data was of course normal again, but he couldn't remember how he come there. So, but the nice thing to see is that Brent Spiner, did a really good job of acting both of them, and of course Laura will be there too. And I do think that Nunyan Soon is a bit of a crazy professor, and you can see that in the whole room. The only thing I hope, and I hoped when I saw this episode for the first time, is that we could have more interaction between Data and Dr. Nunyan Soon, because I would love to have a bit more background of Data. And of course we see later on in TNG that his mother is coming over, and that is also, we see that his mother is a android. So I think if you see that and you encountered that Dr. Nguyen made 2 androids like brothers, and then of course a servant and his wife. He must be very lonely there. And his whole demeanor remind me a bit of Yoda, and also how he dresses, but also how he his presence in a way. And I mean the old Yoda, of course. There is clearly a disturbance between the brothers as well. They don't like each other. The oldest brother thinks that the little brother doesn't want to talk to him, and vice versa. I must say I do recognize this as siblings, and I'm wondering, and I think we see that later on as well, that I don't remember which one it was, but one of them was thinking, yeah, we are all alone out here and you're the only one I still got. And then they make it up again. And that was, by the way, a very stupid joke of Crusher. That, well, if you hurt your arm putting it up, then don't put your arm up. And that was exactly what she meant with if the little boy was standing up and get nauseous or dizzy, then don't stand up. It was a lame joke. So Picard and the crew can get back to the bridge again, but they still can't override the command system. And Picard ordered to await him to beam down. And meanwhile they want to do that. There's a little small ship coming back into orbit, and there's no life form on board. So we know already that it will be Laura. And well, I always say, if Laura's in the neighborhood, there will be trouble. Data and Nguyen are having a very interesting conversation about humans, and Data couldn't answer Dr. Nguyen better than anyone could do. And Nguyen is a bit disappointed that Data have chosen for Starfleet, because he made him to be something superior, and he didn't. Well, Data didn't care about that, and we see into the whole Star Trek universe, if it comes to Data was always wanted to be human. And I have said it before, it always reminds me of that movie with Robin Williams, that this robot wants to become acknowledged as human and goes very far on it. And I have always the feeling that it's being the same with Data. And the emotion chip, yes, it could help him very much, but also it gains, I think Data is experience contradictions about emotions. And when he got the emotion chips and it works on him, we see that the experience of feeling emotions is very intense. Laura arrives and he is not happy. And I think Nguyen is a bit surprised that they will have a family reunion. And I don't know why they did this episode right after the episode of family, what is in one way in the same context as this episode. So maybe this was a 2-part episode, and they made it just in 2 different episodes because they could, and maybe it was a bit more clearer of storyline. Okay, the next scene we see that Nguyen Soon is working on lore, and Data tried to reason with Nguyen Soon not to reactivate him, and Nguyen Soon is dismissing all his arguments. And this reminds me a lot of the issues that I had with my parents and with my younger brother. He could do nothing wrong, and I always being the dog, you know? So this scene was a bit of intense for me because it brought back memories, and it also shows you that it doesn't play only with humans, it's also everywhere, and I think every species has the same issues as humans do with like siblings or family. Lore is very upset with Nguyen Soon because Data is less perfect than Lore. But what you see is that Lore is acting more humanly. He has more emotions that he is showing. And when Nguyen Soon tells them that he is dying, you see a bit of a change in Lore, but it is just a fraction of a second. And I think because Lore is more advanced than Data, Lore always has this jealousy towards Data, and you can see that every time we meet Lore. He is always want to have more and be better than Data. The reason why Nguyen Soon brought Data back is for this emotion chip, basic feelings. And once again you see the jealousy of Lorne. And he made comments like, well, if you have those basic feelings, maybe you can understand your evil brother, etc., etc. And I think once again, like I said, he is too ambitious, and that's gonna be a big problem for a android, and even for an AI, as we call them, or synth in Picard season, well, all the seasons. Finally, the Enterprise crew managed to send an away team down to the planet to collect data, and we see that Nguyen Soon is working on one of the androids, which is Lore, who put Data's clothes on. So once again, he fooled everyone, and this is something I don't understand, and maybe you guys can tell me that in the comments section. If Lore already possesses emotions, why would he take Data's emotion chip. Does that mean he thinks that he could be repaired or cured and be normal like Data? I don't know, what do you guys think? So, Nuya soon put the emotion chip in the wrong android. And when he discovered that things went south, and Lore left with, I think, a superior feeling of, look what I have done, like always he does. And then we see that the away team is at Nuya Soon's house. The whole place is smashed down by Lore, by the way. So they will find Data unconscious, and they have to reactivate him again and see what happened. So they find a injured Soon, and then this funny scene comes along that Worf is carrying Data in, and that makes me a bit giggly because it is just weird and it looks wrong, you know. In the end of this last scene, we see Data saying goodbye to Dr. Nuya Soon, and this time Nuya Soon is dying for real. And then we see that the Enterprise has made it to Starbase 416, and young Potts, little boy, is responding well to the treatment, and he only has to do stay still 2 weeks in quarantine, and then he will be fine. And we see that the two brothers are playing together, and so Data make the remarks of, well, I can't believe that this is happening, and it looks like they are getting well again. And Beverly Crusher makes the remark of, well, they are brothers, Data. That is what brothers do. And you saw him thinking, should I forgive Lore what he did? I think a lot of people will say, nope, not worthy of it. And that is the end of the episode. Thank you guys for listening, and join me in 2 weeks for a new episode recap. In the next episode we will recap the Suddenly the Human. Checking Around is to listen on Spotify, Amazon Music, on the Facebook group and YouTube channel. For the next few episodes, I'm still looking for a track friend who would like to recap with me the episode. We're, of course, talking about Star Trek TNG Season 4, and the episodes are Remember Me, Legacy, and Reunion. So, if you are interested, let me know. That would be great. I will see you in 2 weeks. Live long and prosper.